I mean, I'm getting messages all the time about, the impact that this stuff has had. So it's definitely a worthwhile endeavor.
So today we have gathered to talk about our feelings about being content creators. What is the perception that we are sensing from the outside world about us as YouTubers, as podcasters, Instagrammers, all the things? And how are our family and friends reacting to this sudden appearance, our sudden uptick in appearances in the online world? Rich, I want to hear from you first. When you started doing your podcasts on a regular basis and promoting what you do with big promotions and that sort of thing, how did your family and your friends start reacting for you?
I didn't have any reaction at all. Everybody was, well, I don't know how many people I told about it, but nothing negative at all. I've had a few of them are nieces and nephews that are really, they think it's kind of cool that, oh, you're a YouTuber. Oh, cool. And they've actually watched it, and they're probably they're probably a few of my subs, my family. But that's, I think the last time we had a family thing, somebody might have mentioned something that came up during one of our episodes that was kind of off the wall. So no, everybody's generally supportive. It's the people around. I think it's more the people around the world that don't, like, if I try to vlog at the car wash or at the grocery store and somebody starts talking about it, and they might be a little curious more than anything else as far as, what are you doing with that camera in this car wash or in this grocery store? But nothing negative so far. I haven't had anything negative.
All right, Michelle, you're up, because I want to hear. Also, you have been doing this for probably longer than any of us. So how has that journey gone for you in terms of your close relationships?
Well, there's the good and there's the bad. So most of the people that watch are lurkers. I'm like, I see you lurking. I see you. But they don't say anything. They watch, but they don't say anything. And, every now and then you talk to someone and like, oh yeah, I caught that episode. I'm like, really? You didn't subscribe. You didn't let me know you were there. When I used to do this on Facebook, it was very easy because anytime anybody looks at, clicks in, you can see who's looking and, you can see who's lurking. And that's kind of where I started my journey. I started my journey on Facebook. And then I wanted to jump into a bigger pool. And so I went on to YouTube, and it's like coming out of a blue ocean into the real ocean. And you're like, oh, wow, there is a lot of people here and nobody knows me. Okay. So, but still, I still have the lurkers, the people who see me and they see my stuff. And so, it's good and it's bad. So from the family, they're like, oh, wow, how's the YouTube thing going? They ask you that. It was kind of like when I was a Mary Kay person. It's like, you got your pink Cadillac yet? Everybody asks you that. It's the same thing with YouTube. It's like, so how's that YouTube thing going? Thinking, yeah, you and your internet friends. But I'm making lasting connections out here, so I don't care what they say. So they could keep lurking until I roll up in my whatever. And then, they'd be like, oh, YouTube did that for you? I'm like, yes, bitch, back up.
Exactly. I like that. I mean, obviously, all of us are very much of we're doing this, we don't care what anybody thinks. But how people have reacted in our lives, it does make a difference. And we're watching that. Dina, you're probably one of the streamers or creators who's really pulled upon your personal relationships to bring them into your world on Silver Lining Home Place. How has that felt for you? And has that sort of changed the way you've interacted? And I know you've had some interesting things with your Bichon people, so I want to hear about that too.
I knew that there was this, for lack of a better term, stigma that I was going to hit when I did this. What I didn't realize is who the Dina fans were before I was even online. People came that I didn't even know would give 5 minutes. And that still surprises me because, like you say, I've got this Bichon community that I'm a part of, and there's, hundreds of us, and people watch, and it's really touching. People I would have never expected, and I'm glad I didn't think about the stigma that much when I got into it. And now it's something that they look forward to. So I feel like it's been good. I've had some, I don't want to say negative, but I see some of the what is she doing kind of stuff. But I like Michelle. I just don't pay attention to it because I'm not doing this for those people. I'm doing it for the ones that want to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Haters are going to hate. And that's interesting because I know I've had I wouldn't say the complete opposite, but I've had quite a different reaction from my friends and family on the FH umpire stuff, at least, in that it feels like an entirely separate world. Like my friends don't even ask me about that side of the business. They're interested if I'm progressing and making money, but when it comes to my actual online, my streams or my videos, it's like they don't exist. And that's been weirdly isolating. Do you think, Dina, because you were in this group, this mentoring, and we were in Catch-22 with Doc, that helped you feel really comfortable about what you were going to be embarking on, and maybe that really pushed you along? Was that part of it?
No, I think because I started slowly. I had that slow roll before I really started streaming, but I knew that the stigma was there even before I met y'all and got involved with Doc's mentoring.
Did you feel that the support from Catch-22 and that we were there in the beginning and like, go Dina, go stream, that sort of helped push through that stigma that you knew was there?
Yeah. I think as I started streaming more and did hear about some people kind of being less than positive, yes, it did help. I was talking to an acquaintance's husband at a function, I don't know, maybe 1 to 2 months after I started streaming. And we were all in the same room. The acquaintance was just about 5 feet away from me. And her husband said, "Oh, I caught this episode." And he explained something that I had done. And I said, "Oh, I had no idea that you watched." And his eyes darted straight to his wife. And he's like not allowed to watch kind of thing. So I've had that. And since then, there's been another, 1 or 2 other times that he and I have had a similar conversation where he's like, "I love this thing that you did." And then he realizes, "Oh, I can't be admitting that I'm watching." So I find that interesting, but that's not stopping me. There are too many people that enjoy it. And, what are you going to do? Let one person stop you? I mean, I'm not doing this for the people that don't want it.
It's not like you're running an OnlyFans. That's just the weirdest
that we know
thing
of.
I have.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. You've got to sneak some stuff in there for him, like say his name or something. I don't know. Just figure out some way to call him out.
I do not want to play those games. I mean, that's their thing. None of my business. But yeah, so it's out there, and I don't understand what that might be, and sometimes I do think about it, but I think the thing I would want somebody who's just starting out and kind of worrying about this, you haven't talked to that person in how many years since high school? Why do you really care what they think? And I just decided, you know what? They're not doing it, so I'm going to do it because I want to do this thing. And yeah, it is sad to see people talking down about those of us doing this, but just don't listen. Keep moving ahead. Yeah.
We all know how much courage it takes.
Yeah, it's a road less traveled, because everybody, the thing to me that is like so shocking is that most people are followers, right? Very few people lead. And if you're out here just leading the way, doing something that they've never done before, they're gonna watch, they're gonna be lurking. Trust, they're gonna be lurking. And they're gonna be like, "Oh wow, oh there was something to that. Oh, maybe how can I get into that? You know what? I should have did this years ago when I saw Dina doing it." And then they're gonna be knocking at your door. So, when it's popular, but it's a road less traveled right now. So it's a lonely road. Let's go.
Absolutely. I was trying to really quickly Google the statistics because I've heard it a few times from various content creators and their podcasts saying that I think it's like 90% of people who are on YouTube aren't creators and only 10% are, or I think that the ratio is even worse. If somebody can find a better number, I'd really appreciate being corrected.
I'd be surprised if it was 10% of people on YouTube were creators, to be honest.
Yeah,
it does
sound excessive, doesn't it? And the whole point that we think, especially for us, because we're in the world, that we look at and we think, oh my God, everybody's creating, like everybody's got a channel, everybody's doing that. But that we're in that world and we really are doing a very exceptional thing. So many people watch YouTube and think, I could do that. I could do that in my sleep. And no, you can't. You can't do it in your sleep because we've all tried, because we've all done this sleep deprived. It's really, really challenging, and it's especially challenging to be consistent or to do it over a long period of time and do it when it's difficult and all that. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Alec's probably digging up the stats, but I want to ask you first before you find them. Do your kids think you're the coolest dad in the world because you're a YouTube star?
There's a couple of technicalities there to correct, but my youngest two basically have got no idea. They see my face on their iPad. It'll come up sometimes, like in the YouTube feed. But it's I suppose Jasmine, who's my oldest, she thinks it's kind of cool. And then I've got like my merch, and if I go and pick her up from school, she thinks it's cool if I happen to be wearing one of those things. But for the rest of my family, I mean, they've been supportive. The thing for me about it is that when I put this idea down as a topic for public perception, it's kind of this thing of what the expectations are once you start your channel. So all of my family have been supportive about it and think it's great, and can see where I'm leading to with it in terms of the larger business arc of it, I guess. But it's this thing of expecting like, oh well, YouTubers make loads of money. YouTubers have got massive channels; they get millions of views. So it's this thing where there was a point at which I was talking with somebody in my family, and it was well, how many subs are you on? And I was at I don't know, less than 1,000, and there was this like look of like, oh, never mind, it's not worked. And it's like, well, I've literally only started however many months ago, and it's just sort of building up. And there's this, as creators, we're all talking about these things between each other. We can see, the way that channels grow, and the fact that you don't really get overnight successes, and if you do, then they're usually short-lived. So it's about building that long-term audience, and us having an understanding that it takes time. And so when other people are looking from the outside and seeing, what other people are doing, and not actually realizing, oh yeah, well, those people have been doing it for 10 years and they've been posting consistently, every day, every week, or whatever it happens to be for 10 years. And that's where they've got to. There's, if you look at, I don't really watch Mr. Beast, my kids do, but when you see, his subscriber arc, obviously he's the biggest YouTuber, but at one point he was like creeping up to, I'm approaching 1,000 subs, and it was like a long, slow, drawn out process. And that really is the perception thing that I think is missing. There's also another aspect of it, which is what level do you actually have to be at to, to start to make money on YouTube? And there's obviously the 1,000 subscriber threshold and watch time wherever before you can start even monetizing from YouTube, but then understanding that, well, actually that isn't going to give you the main source of income potential from YouTube. But perhaps that's for a little bit later on in the conversation.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely circle back to that, because I think that's a really valid point, and just sort of the overall, what do people think YouTubers or content creators are doing with their lives? But Rob, how have your family reacted to all this, especially because you're very narrowly targeted, like some of us, but you're just really in those small little corners. And how does that seem to play with your family members thinking, what's a medical see, I'm going to get your
well
wrong.
Let me just start
You
by
say it.
saying
You say it.
my name is Rob, and I'm a Disney adult. And if you want to talk about perceptions of people on a grand scale, just mention that you like Disney and you're over, 16 years old, and you're immediately thrown into a little pot and boiled, for your carcass. It's not, I mean, there's, national publications write articles about being a Disney adult. So, and I've been doing this for decades. I mean, my family understands and has benefited from my love of Disney. So they don't care. And as we've joked about before, my sister is probably a lot more productive than I am, is a creator now just in the past 8-10 months, and has created her following. So any stigma or anything like that it isn't there in my family. We've always been creative. Pretty much everybody in my family has done time on the stage, singing or dancing or acting. So something like this is a natural progression for us. So on that matter, I don't have a problem with my family. Now, at the same time, some of the content that I have put out on the Disney side, either directly produced by myself or being hosted by other Disney creators where I've talked, was found in the past year and a half. Not that it's been hiding, and used against me as a, look, this creepy person's running for school board. And I don't think being a Disney fan is creepy. I don't think going on vacation is problematic. There's a lot of hate out there for different reasons, and these people were going to attack me regardless of what. And so, I really don't care. In terms of my telehealth, telemedicine marketplace and the people that are my friends, competitors, whatever, they don't care either on the Disney side, nor, and so, half the stuff that I've created, to this point, especially in the telehealth space, is only going to be seen by 100, 200 people. And that's perfectly fine, because that's who my target is, and that's who I'm going to make my money from. So me sitting in front of a camera like this is one thing. I'm not going to run for office again, probably. Please write this date and time down that I've said that.
Yeah.
But the reality is that even this program could be used against me down the line, because I'm still very politically active and am going to be supporting and helping other people down the line. As I am now, the cycle hasn't really started yet, but it started. And so I don't, in terms of my love for Disney, it's been going on for decades, and I was, me and my groups have been looked at weirdly for a long period of time, and we're used to it by now. I've had over time, it just doesn't matter, because we have fun. And let me tell you, if you really want to go out drinking with a bunch of people, Disney fans are pretty good people to go get drunk with. So, you can stigmatize this all we want. We're going to be out having fun.
Okay, duly noted. The next time that I'm down in the dumps and I just really need a good night on the town, I'm going to call up my Disney friends and say, let's do this. But those are some really interesting comments, and you've really dovetailed back into what Alec was talking about in terms of what success means for creators like us, who are not looking for Mr. Beast or whatever your resident Twitch gamers success levels are, where you're appealing to a massive broad audience. We're looking for something where we can provide value to a very specific group of people, that niche audience. And that's what we really want. You've got your telemedicine, Rob. I've got my hockey umpires, and my market is small. And I know it's small because I'm still growing, but I'm growing at the same rate. It's just sliding right along. And we'll get to this when we talk about analytics in future episodes. But I'm wondering about how it is that, we reconcile and we look at how YouTubers are, or, YouTubers, Instagrammers, TikTokers. None of us are on TikTok, but if we were, how that definition of success then sort of dovetails into this whole public perception and how all that works. Rich, how have you found that in your own journey and looking at what's a successful YouTuber?
Well, it's all about business. And in my industry, there's other people in my industry that are dipping their toes in this content stuff too. And I think we're all just trying to collectively bring our industry up and to the forefront. Because a lot of people think that selling printed promotional products is kind of a tchotchke, cheapy thing. And it's an afterthought in advertising when it actually can be a pretty good part of your marketing and be really effective. And so we're trying to escalate that or elevate our industry collectively as a whole. So we're all very supportive of each other. As far as customers seeing my stuff, I've had a few mention that they've seen this or that, not many. I don't know that I'm getting any business out of it, but I think I've talked about it before though. I don't want somebody to never heard of my company and they decide to go look me up and see that I had a TikTok account and I posted a year ago. So I actually posted stuff 2 hours ago. So it's, when you say we're not on TikTok, I'm on TikTok. I don't know about you. And I think you are too.
Yeah.
Julie.
Well, no, not really. I'm not really there, but Rich, I'm very proud of you. And that's now I'm feeling that not FOMO. What is that guilty feeling when you hear one of your creator friends is doing more than you on a particular platform? And
I don't know that it's FOMO or anything. And also people say do stuff for the platform. I don't do that. I do a very lazy job of it. I take the exact same thing I post everywhere and post it everywhere. I just don't have time to do 4 different platforms.
That's totally fine.
So, but that's it.
I've had a couple people mention to me that they've watched 1 or 2 episodes and they would much prefer it if I would just go on TikTok. So it's interesting. They're like, I don't watch you because it's too long, or I don't do YouTube. I get a lot of I don't do YouTubes. They want to see you on a different platform, and I'm just not. I can't cave to that right now. There's a pull to want to do that and satisfy that part of an audience. But the thing that I had to come to grips with was, wow, these are a couple of my favorite people, but I can't take on another platform right now and do it well just for these 2 people. And I know that other people will come when they see it and all that, but I do find it interesting that we have almost all of us stuck with a platform, with the platforms that we have, and haven't dipped into the TikTok as deep as perhaps maybe people want us to.
I started with TikTok. I put a couple of things out. I don't know. TikTok for me is a slippery slope. My son, however, is going like gangbusters on it. He's got multiple things that has gotten over 2 million views, lots and lots. And I'm like, oh, this is great. So he just recently got monetized. And he's like 20, he's a gamer. He does gaming stuff. So yeah, it's a bunch of them out there. But I've seen a few of us out there, making our mark, doing the things out there. And just like you, Rich, I see the same stuff on Instagram, and I also, whatever's on Instagram is on TikTok. And so I initially started to do that. But then, I don't know, some mentor of mine told me once that, you have to really curate for the platform. So if you want, the same stuff that works on TikTok doesn't work on YouTube. So take my son, for instance. He's got, thousands of people he's got thousands of subs. He's monetized now on TikTok, and they paid him. Oh my God, I'm so excited. All of this stuff. But he tries to put some of the same stuff on YouTube, and he's really frustrated because he's not growing like he's growing on TikTok. So yeah, and I'm starting to think the mentor, she was right. She was like, you got to curate for the platform. So you can't just throw something up there. I mean, yes, you can, but ain't nobody got time for that. At least not right now. Okay. Not right now. When I have a team and I could have a VA say, hey, you got the TikTok account. Here's your assets. Go. Then I'm all for it. But right now it's me, and hey, that's not what I want to do. So it is what it is.
And it gets back to that definition of success and thinking that, well, maybe somebody would look at our banging TikTok account with 20,000 followers or 50,000 followers. But if we're not converting any of those people into community members or people who are buying our courses or buying our products or learning from us, then we are not successful as creators in the way that we are. Like, we're creating for a purpose, not just to entertain or just to gather the followers. So I can see that there's that tension between people who think that content creation on these platforms is just for consumption, for entertainment, whereas we see this as this is almost purely a marketing endeavor for us, a way to gather that awareness and all that sort of thing. Alec, do you have anything that you want to chime in on this about, since you were the one who brought up the whole topic of what success is and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing of the number, the subscriber number. I mean, everyone talks about, if you're in creator circles, don't chase subscribers, just do the work and that thing will come. But there is this sort of outside perception of it. And I was watching a stand-up comedy thing, and it was the comedian was asking people in the audience, where you from, what do you do, that kind of thing. And this one guy in his 40s said, I'm a YouTuber. And then the guy just immediately laughed at him and said, oh, you're a YouTuber. How many subscribers have you got? And it was something like 10,000, thereabouts. And when he said he got 10,000 subscribers, the comedian's reaction was, you are not a YouTuber if you've only got 10,000 subscribers. I bet you are just still living at home with your parents in their bedroom. That is ridiculous. You are not a YouTuber. Come on, how old are you? When are you going to get a proper job? And that was the reaction of this comedian. And obviously he's a comedian. He's there to make comedy out of a situation. But I think that is a perception. If you say to somebody, I say that I'm a content creator or course creator or online educator or something like that. But if you say I'm a YouTuber, how many subs have you got? 1,000. People will just think that, well, that's not actually really very many. Whereas in actual fact, you could be speaking to a whole school of students if you have got an educational channel with that many people. So there is this sort of perception of it that's a little bit off, I think. And also the whole thing about monetization. Yeah, you can get monetized at 1,000 subs, but you're not going to make, a huge amount. I've made a point in, since I did get monetized, of making that information public, because lots of people I found when I started my channel were saying, oh, you're not going to make a lot of money from, AdSense. But nobody really sort of actually put it out there and said, this is how much I've made from this number of videos. So that's why when I've been doing my sort of channel updates, I've been telling people what that is. But the fact is that is just a small fraction of what you can make if you're using this as, a marketing tool for your, as you were saying, courses and things like that. There's another little thing, though, about public perception, which is actually the perception between creators as well. When you're a creator with, X number of subs, and then you see somebody else who's got a different number, maybe a much higher number, it's easy to look at them and assume that what they're, being able to generate from it is directly scaled up from what you are, because you feel like, oh, well, we've got some inside knowledge. We know, I'll speak for myself. I've got some inside knowledge. I feel like, oh, well, I know, where things are with this. But then actually I realized, oh, well, actually it's not like that. You might have somebody that's got 100,000, 200,000 or 50,000, whatever it happens to be. And they're actually not as far along as you would have thought. So it's even at the, within creators, it's not a sort of, I guess what I'm getting to is the subscriber number is not a way to gauge success, really, in terms of, if somebody's doing that as a business from a financial point of view. And I looked up, I didn't find the stat you were looking for, but I looked up a stat about what percentage of YouTubers are above 100,000. And I'm getting mixed results, but basically it seems to be between about 0.2% and up to 2%. So, that sort of range. But it's a very small number of people who are on YouTube who are actually over 100,000. And yet a lot of people would say, oh, unless you've got 100,000, it's an unsuccessful channel, some of the outside people.
Yeah, it's crazy. And when you think about how we as members of this community, and we're talking to each other all the time, and we're talking to other creators, that even we are caught in that thought, that expectation or assumption that if you have a large number behind your channel name, that makes you successful. And I just had a conversation with a creator earlier this week who I assumed was making a certain level of revenue or having a certain amount of success. And they confessed to me that they were feeling very uncertain and not very happy with the direction. And what we did is we went through talking numbers, and I was very open and transparent with them. I said exactly what I was making from certain things that I was doing with both Discord Coach and FH Umpires, because especially when you're a woman, it's something that we don't talk about enough, is money. We don't talk hard figures, what we're making, because it seems, it's just rude. So I'm trying to break that down in my own thinking. And when I got through with that, and I have my channel that is creeping up to 2,000 subscribers on FH Umpires, and Discord Coach is still limping along because I'm not focusing enough attention on the content there. And I'm making more money, significantly more money. So going through that conversation was so illuminating for me. And I think it's the kind of conversation that we as creators need to have as much as we can, because we got to break this down and stop this whole stigma that we develop for ourselves that, oh my God, we're not doing well enough because we're not reaching this number, and we keep obsessing over those things. And we're obsessing over the wrong things. And we need to obsess over our people and the impact that we're making and the feedback that we're getting and the lives that we're changing, or the people we're just helping in any respect, helping them have a better day. That's awesome. That's the best stuff that's out there. So I think it's a good wake-up call for us. And I'm really happy to hear that all of you are feeling pretty good about your placements in this, even though we're maybe not all of our family and friends are completely on board or understand even what the heck we're doing. Does anybody have any closing thoughts you want to throw in on this episode about how we're perceived and how we're feeling? Any more worlds we're going to change?
I guess the point is that if if it's something that you want to do and you believe in it, then don't let the whatever connotations you might think there are associated with it, or also potentially, I mean, I think all got pretty supportive families around it, but if you have got anything like that, that you don't need to think that you've got to get to those big numbers to actually first of all make a real impact on people, especially with like educational content. I mean, I'm getting messages all the time about the impact that this stuff has had, so it's definitely a worthwhile endeavor. And also from just a business point of view, you really don't need to have thousands even of subscribers to actually get a loyal following of people who want the thing that you've got to offer. And whether that is courses, whether it's coaching, whether it's consultations, or maybe even just like work for your business, whatever else, your other business, it's a great way to connect with people and to put yourself out there to potentially a very large audience. There's also just one other thing, which is that the subscriber number is not the number of people who are watching your videos. And that works both ways. I get, far more people watch my videos every month than I have subscribers, but it goes the opposite way. Some people with a really large subscriber number might only be getting a few views. So that correlation is something to just be aware of, that they're not necessarily correlated.
Great point. Thanks, everybody. Great chat.
Thanks for hopping into our Creators Pod. If you enjoyed it, we'd love if you would subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review. Tell a friend about it too. Check out the video version on our YouTube channel, Creators Pod. The Creators Pod is produced by C22 Media. Alec Johnson, Keely Dunn, Michelle Lawrence, Rich Graham, Rob Vaules, and me, Dina Taylor. Thanks, y'all.
Well, somebody's got to say something now, because that's in the show.